And you're with Brandon. Rachel. Jeremy.
Every parent dreams of their child growing up to lead a happy, successful life. They cherish their first steps, celebrate their achievements, and support them through life's challenges. But what happens when that child harbors a dark secret, one so horrifying that it shatters the very foundation of their family? For one unsuspecting couple, life took a nightmarish turn when they made a chilling discovery. Their beloved son wasn't just an ordinary young man, he was a wanted killer. The smiling boy they had raised, the one they had tucked into bed at night, had been living a double life, one filled with crime, deception, and murder. This is the unsettling story of a family torn apart by a truth too terrifying to ignore. Brandon Risner stood beside his parents, his face tense and his body stiff, as he faced the grim reality of his situation. Just hours earlier, he had been on the run, desperately trying to evade the police. Now, there was nowhere left to hide. For 6 hours, law enforcement had been hunting him down, believing he was responsible for the brutal and gruesome murder of his best friend, Aaron Davis. His parents, Jeremy and Lisa Risner, had only recently learned about the horrifying allegations against their son. Overwhelmed with shock and disbelief, they found themselves with no option but to pray and anxiously wait for what was to come. The tragic series of events had started 2 days prior, on the cold morning of November 21st, 2022. The Rome Police Department in Georgia received a report about a vehicle abandoned in a creek. When officers arrived at the scene, they discovered a silver Toyota Prius, partially submerged in the water.
Y'all don't think he's in there?
No, I didn't down there.
Oh, okay. Son's name's Aaron Davis. Supposed to be coming to Rome to see some friends and going to Alabama to see his girlfriend.
I don't think he made it there.
Nah. I wonder where he's at. Why his car down there?
Crazy thing is, there's nothing. I mean, there was no acceleration. It's almost like it just
rode off in there or something.
Yeah.
The car seemed to have been left in a hurry, its doors unlocked and no driver in sight. At first, it was unclear whether this was a case of a simple abandoned vehicle, a stolen car, or something far more serious. However, when officers ran the license plate, they quickly found out that the car was registered to 21-year-old Aaron Davis. In a small town like Rome, Georgia, the name Aaron Davis was already somewhat familiar to the local police. Hoping to get more information, Lieutenant Sailors called the registered owner's father. When Aaron's father answered the phone, he was immediately confused about why the police were contacting him.
He's gotta go up to visit his girlfriend in Alabama after that.
Okay. Yeah, can you see if you maybe can get a hold of him and check in with him, see where his car's supposed to be?
So you just found the car abandoned there?
Yeah, it's actually off in a little ditch. We're in the process of getting it out. I don't think there's anybody in it right now.
He had no idea why his son's car would be found in such a strange location. Aaron's father explained that his son had left home the previous evening. His plan was to visit a friend in Rome before continuing on to Alabama, where his girlfriend lived. He had been expecting to hear from Aaron once he arrived, but no calls had come. Now, with Aaron's phone going straight to voicemail and no sign of him anywhere, concern quickly turned into alarm. Sensing that something was wrong, Aaron's father filed a missing persons report, and the police officially launched an investigation. One of the first leads in the case was Aaron's close friend Brandon Risner, as he was the last person known to have seen Aaron alive. When the police called Brandon, he seemed cooperative and even claimed that he was already out searching for Aaron himself. According to Brandon, Aaron had come over the previous afternoon, and the two had started drinking around noon. He said that after consuming a large amount of alcohol, especially red wine, Aaron had become sick and began vomiting. Brandon claimed that he had left Aaron alone in his upstairs bedroom and gone to sleep downstairs. When he woke up around 1 or 2 a.m., Aaron and his car were gone.
Hey, I'm Lieutenant Sailors, Rome Police. You doing all right today?
Yes, I am. I'm looking for my friend right now.
Yeah, that's what I was calling about. You hadn't heard from him?
I have not. I've tried calling him, and it's just gone straight to voicemail. And I heard he was at Heritage Park, so that's where I'm at right now. So I'm looking around. Do you guys know where the car was?
Yeah, it was in a ditch over there. When's the last time you saw Aaron?
I saw him last night.
About what time?
Well, we started drinking around like 12,
Uh-huh.
noon. He started throwing up pretty bad. He told me to leave him alone. I guess I woke up around like 1 or 2 a.m.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I saw that his car was gone.
All right. Well, if y'all hear from him, let us know, okay?
Yeah, thank you for the help, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
At first glance, nothing seemed particularly suspicious about Brandon's story. It was reasonable to assume that Aaron might have decided to leave on his own. However, the police still needed to verify his claims, so they decided to visit Brandon's house and speak with him in person. When officers arrived, Brandon repeated his story word for word, maintaining that Aaron had gotten extremely ill from drinking and had later left on his own. He also added one detail. He had accidentally cut his pinky finger on a broken bottle while cleaning up. Everything seemed to check out.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Officer Garber with the Rome Police Department. We're following up on all this. Can you walk me through what's going on? Just make sure we're all on the same page.
We started drinking around 12 yesterday.
Yeah, it's you and Aaron, right?
Yeah, me and Aaron.
Okay. Anyone else with you guys?
And went to bars, and I had bought some red wine.
Yeah.
And came back here, started drinking red wine. He doesn't drink too often, so
Yeah.
he had gone upstairs and was just puking everywhere to the toilet. It was like standing up and puking for some reason. I went downstairs and he told me that he doesn't need any help. I went downstairs, dropped a bottle, cut my pinky, and I went to the urgent care this morning, took a shower, went to bed,
Okay.
and then woke up 1 to 2 a.m. and his car was gone.
But the police weren't satisfied yet. They asked Brandon if they could search his house, and to their surprise, he agreed. As the officers stepped inside, they immediately noticed several locked doors, especially the one leading to the room where Brandon claimed Aaron had been sick. When they finally gained access, they were hit by an overwhelming chemical smell. It was clear that the room had been recently and aggressively cleaned. Despite the attempts to erase any trace of what had happened, officers still noticed large blood stains on the carpet next to the bed. At that moment, they realized that something terrible had taken place inside this house. Before they could question Brandon further, he suddenly made a break for it. Without warning, he bolted out the back door, jumped over a fence, and disappeared into the neighborhood. Police immediately launched a manhunt, going door to door and searching the surrounding area. Brandon had a significant head start, and for the first hour there was no trace of him. During the search, an officer spoke with one of Brandon's neighbors who happened to be on the phone with Jeremy Risner, Brandon's father. The officer took the phone and asked Jeremy if he knew where his son was. Jeremy seemed confused at first, believing Brandon was still at home. He explained that earlier in the day he and his wife had suggested that Brandon drive around looking for Aaron, but beyond that, he insisted that he knew nothing about the situation. At first, Jeremy was fully cooperative. However, when he found Brandon's cell phone inside the house, his behavior took a sudden turn. For several hours, Jeremy refused to hand over the phone to the police. This raised suspicions. Did he find something disturbing on it? Did he now suspect his own son was guilty? Eventually, he gave in and turned over the phone. Investigators soon found disturbing notes written by Brandon himself. These messages revealed deeply unsettling thoughts about his mental state, emotions, and dark fantasies. Even more chilling were messages that seemed to describe the murder of Aaron Davis, detailing his final moments in eerie, emotionless detail. One of the most shocking discoveries was a to-do list written by Brandon. It included vacuuming, doing laundry, texting a friend to set up an alibi. It was clear. Brandon had planned everything. As the manhunt continued, Jeremy called the police again. This time, he had a new piece of information. He mentioned an old cemetery that might be relevant to Brandon. When officers arrived at the location, they made a horrifying discovery. Aaron's body was buried in a secluded area behind the cemetery. His remains were wrapped in the same sheets from Brandon's bedroom. There was no longer any doubt that Brandon Risner had murdered Aaron Davis. Not long after, Jeremy convinced his son to turn himself in. Less than 30 minutes later, Brandon walked into the police station with his parents by his side. When officers began questioning him, he immediately asked for a lawyer. He refused to answer anything, showing no remorse, no fear, and no emotion. Jeremy later explained that Brandon had been struggling with severe mental health issues, including visions and paranoia. However, whether this was the truth or an attempt to set up an insanity defense was unclear. On July 18, 2024, Brandon Risner pleaded guilty to the murder and mutilation of Aaron Davis. His insanity defense was rejected, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Aaron Davis was a young man with a bright future, recently graduated and full of ambition. His life was cut short by the very person he trusted most. Though justice was served, the pain of his loss remains. His friends and family continue to mourn, holding on to the memory of the kind, loving, and promising young man he once was. Even as Brandon spends the rest of his life behind bars, the scars of this tragedy linger. The Davis family continues to struggle with the unbearable loss of their son, while the Risners grapple with the horrifying reality that the child they raised committed such an unthinkable crime. The case serves as a haunting reminder that sometimes the people we think we know best can harbor the darkest secrets, and the line between love and betrayal can be razor thin. That is all for the video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such case stories. See you in another video.